In today's video for the CCU controller, we're going to talk about using the buttons on top of the iris pedestal paddles for doing previewing your cameras and on your waveforms and on your pictures. And as I've mentioned before, these have buttons on the top where you can push to preview, and there's two modes to set these buttons in, and each of the four cameras can have their own individual modes. I've currently got this selected in toggle mode, so as you take your finger off the button, it reverts back to a predetermined source, and that predetermined source is all user programmable. So in most cases you'd be wanting to go back to a reference source of some kind. So if you're dealing large outside broadcasts and you've got 20 cameras or whatever, you nominate a camera to be the master camera, the master color camera, and then you can just use that as your default source when you take your finger off the button. Now these settings are all done within the setup menu down here, and without causing too much stress here, I've got to be able to look over so we just go into system setup, and here you can see there's all the different options. You can set which camera is selected of the four buttons. So if you're doing CCU control on camera 1, you'd have that button selected to camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4, or whatever. But they don't have to be in sequence. They can be any camera that's available on the ATEM. I'm not going to go too much into this. This will be on another video. But you can see I've got these set just to cameras 1 to 4, and can't see over the top of the phone. Let me go over here. So so you've got the which camera is your source for the push to preview and CCU control. Then you've got the default in, which is only applicable if you're using toggle mode. Well, not necessarily applicable. We'll cover that in a moment. So here I've just got the super source selected as the default mode because it's given me the ability to be able to do a four-way of the four cameras. I've got all four cameras, 1, 2, 3, 4, around that way. Now when you're not using an ATEM AUX bus as a router, you can use a Videohub or a Multiview to do your CCU preview monitoring, and then you can change those inputs here, which will be your if it's a Videohub, you might have inputs 13, 14, 15, 16, but anyhow, whatever you've got selected here, when you push the button down on the iris joystick controls, it will select whatever you've got source there. And of course the router type, there you go, the router type can be any ATEM AUX bus and any Videohub destination that you've got available. In a video I'll be doing shortly, I'll be showing you this interface to a Blackmagic Videohub 72 by 144 broadcast Videohub, but I'll probably also show it working on a smaller Videohub like a 16 by 16 or something, but that's another video. And then the fourth menu item down here is router button mode, which, as I mentioned, is toggle or latch. And as you can see, each individual position, 1, 2, 3, and 4, can have their own toggle or latch setting. And that's all we do is we just you can toggle it up or toggle it back. So it's toggle or latch, and if you just select the name underneath, the next one down will select whatever the one above is, so you can change them all at the same time. Now so I'll just put them on toggle for the moment. I just wanted to show you within toggle mode, so we can come out of setup now. Hang on, just while I'm in there, I just wanted to quickly show you in the Videohub. So this is a Videohub. This is the one, the 72 by 144. I'll do a totally separate video on all this, but they're that's the onboard control that you can do with the CCU controller. So we just go back to normal operational mode, and as you can see, I'm selecting each camera and that camera is being it comes back out again, and the camera's been selected, and you can see it returns to the default source while I'm using the toggle mode. And but the actual screen itself will always stay, this is the control screen, will always stay on the last camera selected. Again, I showed that in a previous video. But here's one of the little tricks you can do. If you don't want to particularly be holding your finger down while you're doing the adjustments, even though the adjustments will still always work, if you don't want to have to hold the finger down so you can see it on the preview monitor, if you quickly press, if you go click click, you'll see now that it's actually selected that camera. So a double click will stop the toggle from going back. So if you just need to quickly look at camera 3, there it is there, quick double click, and if you just single click, it'll just go back to your normal defaults, your normal default source. So that's a quick way of just, if you're needing to have that source stay selected. And conversely, I like using that word conversely, if I go back into the setup mode and change these over to, so I'm trying to look under the phone here, and just change these all over to latch, and we'll come back out, you'll see now that when I select a button, it stays selected. You only push it once, it stays selected. So that's in latch mode. So some people like to use it. Most people I've worked with like the toggle. But here's another little trick. When you're in latch mode, if you double click, it goes to the default source for that particular position. So you can actually have the best of both worlds. So you can just do single latch, and then if you want to quickly go back and have a look at what your default source is, double click, and there it is. So that's just basically the quick operations of the camera preview facility on the 4x6U controller. And for any more information, there it is.